Today I'm going to tell you a story. A small one, almost unnoticeable, like something that might already be on you.
This happened last summer. My friends and I decided to have a classic picnic out in nature, far from the city, in a quiet forest near an old lake. We found the spot through a hiking group recommendation. Perfect little clearing, nobody around, fresh air, and total silence. We arrived early in the morning, spread out the blanket, unpacked the food. Sandwiches, fruit, a thermos of coffee. Sunlight was filtering through the leaves. Birds were singing. Everything felt perfect. At first, we just relaxed. Someone was joking, someone was taking photos. I lay down on the blanket and stared up at the sky through the branches. It was so peaceful that I even dozed off for about half an hour. When I woke up, everyone was laughing, saying I snored like a bear. I smiled and scratched my leg through my shorts. Just a regular bug bite, I thought. Nothing special. But about an hour later, I noticed the first weird thing. There was a small red spot on my forearm, just above the elbow. It didn't itch much. It was just there. I brushed it off and figured it was a tick, normal for the woods. My friends started complaining too. Something's biting me. There must be a lot of mosquitoes this year. We laughed, sprayed on some repellent, and kept enjoying the picnic. Time passed. We played cards, ate, told stories, but I started feeling like something was wrong with the forest. The clearing felt too quiet. The birds had stopped singing. Even the wind seemed to have died. I looked at the grass around the blanket. It was perfectly flat, as if no one had ever walked there. Yet we had been sitting for hours. Then I found the second one, tiny, almost invisible, slowly crawling up my sock. I picked it off and crushed it between my fingers. Just a regular tick. But when I looked at my friends, one of them was scratching his neck and said, "Guys, don't you think there are way too many of them today?" We decided not to panic. The sun was still high. But when I stood up to get water from the lake, my legs felt heavy, not tired. Something else. Like something was slowly moving under my skin. I shook it off and walked away. On the path back, I noticed the grass had already straightened itself, as if the forest was quickly healing our footprints. When I returned, one of my friends was sitting completely still, staring into space. "You okay?" I asked. He slowly turned his head and smiled. "Yeah, just thinking. It's so peaceful here. I don't really want to leave." His voice sounded a little off, like he was repeating words someone was feeding him. We started packing up earlier than planned, but while folding the blanket, I noticed more of them. They weren't just on our clothes, they were on the blanket, on the food containers, on the thermos. Tiny black dots moving in a strangely organized way, like they were looking for something specific. We drove home in silence. No one turned on the music. I felt a slight itch under my skin, but I blamed it on tiredness. And then things got worse at home. That same evening, my friend Jake called me. His voice was quiet and confused. "Dude, are you feeling this too? Like something's crawling inside me. It doesn't hurt, it just moves. And I keep thinking about that clearing. I want to go back there." I told him it was probably just a normal reaction after being in the woods. We talked for a few more minutes and hung up. The next morning, another friend, Mike, called. "I dreamed about the forest last night. I can't shake the feeling that they're still on me. I found 3 new spots on my back. They're not even red, they're just there. And I don't want to leave the house anymore. I feel like if I go outside, something will lose me." I started to answer, but he interrupted. "Do you hear it too? Like a quiet clicking sound inside your ear?" I didn't hear anything, but after the call I felt cold. Over the next few days we all started calling each other. The group chat exploded with messages. Everyone was sharing their own experience. "There's a small spot on my stomach, and it pulses when I think about the picnic. I woke up and saw something tiny crawling across the ceiling right above my bed. It was black and moved exactly like the ones on the blanket. I don't feel hungry anymore. I just want to stay home and think about the forest. It was so quiet there." I started noticing changes too. The itch wouldn't go away. Sometimes it felt like something was slowly moving under the skin on my arm, 1 inch or 2 per day. I didn't go to the doctor. I was afraid they would tell me the truth. And then my friends started disappearing. First, Jake stopped answering calls. I drove to his apartment. The door was unlocked. Inside it was perfectly silent. A half-drunk cup of coffee stood on the kitchen table, and on the floor, on the couch, on the bed, everywhere were tiny black dots. Ticks, dozens of them. They weren't crawling chaotically. They were sitting still, as if waiting. Jake was gone. No clothes, no signs of struggle. He had simply vanished. Two days later, Mike disappeared. I went to his place. Same thing. Empty apartment. Piles of ticks on the floor, on the bed, even on the kitchen table. They were everywhere he might have sat or lain down, like they had replaced him, like he had slowly dissolved and they had taken his place. I called the rest of the group. 2 of them still answered, but their voices were already different, soft, slow, almost happy. "Don't worry," one said. "It's so peaceful here. They're just helping us rest. You don't have to do anything anymore, just be." The last call came yesterday evening. Our friend Emily whispered, "I can see them on the ceiling. They're coming down, and I'm not scared anymore. Maybe you should come join us. The forest was so nice." The phone went silent mid-sentence. Today I'm sitting at home, doors locked, windows shut, but I can see small black dots appearing on the white wall near the window. 1, then another, then a third. They aren't biting, they're just waiting, and the itch under my skin has become rhythmic, like someone is counting down to the moment when I stop being myself. I don't answer calls anymore, because I'm afraid that one day someone will call me with my own voice and say, "Come back to the clearing. We're almost finished." If you've ever been on a normal picnic in the woods and afterwards felt like something small and patient had settled inside you, write it in the comments. Because sometimes the scariest thing about nature isn't what bites you in the forest. It's what you bring home with you, and what slowly replaces you while you don't even notice. And me, I can still hear the quiet clicking. It's getting closer.
Check yourself just in case.